Welcome to Security Watch. This is Zain Khan. Today's topic revolves around the devastating Beirut blast that happened a couple of days back. Today, the special guest of our show is Captain Adolph Eid. He is the former chief of the Radiation Detection Unit in the Lebanese Customs and also a CBRNE expert. Our second guest, as always, is Mr. Athar Javed. He is a senior geopolitical analyst and also DG Pakistan House in Islamabad-based think tank. Welcome to our show, Captain Adolph. This is Zain Khan. It is a pleasure having you on Security Watch.
Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure as well.
Welcome to our show, as always, Mr. Athar Javed. It's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much, Sam.
Captain Adolph, let's get to the first question. What actually happened in the Beirut blast a couple of days back? What do you think could have ignited such a blast?
Yeah, actually, we have several scenarios so far. The first one, and according to officials, that the warehouse number 12 actually a big amount of ammonium nitrate were stocked inside number 12 warehouse. In addition to this kind of fertilizers, or we can say homemade explosives as well, they are used as homemade explosive as well. Inside the warehouse, there were hazardous materials, according to authorities, I'm telling you, such as fireworks, chemicals, solvents, and other hazardous materials. So now we can see the picture. We have the oxidizers and we have the fuel. This is the official story or scenario. However, there are several scenarios, from different angles. People are looking to this catastrophe from different angles. Unfortunately, the Lebanese population do not trust the officials and authorities anymore. There is no trust, and they are asking the international community to send an international neutral investigator team to conduct a neutral and transparent investigation.
Mr. Athar Javed, since you're a CBRNE expert, I want your comments on the devastating blast that took place a few days back. And also, if you can tell us, what exact location did the blast take place?
Yes, I think exact location, Eid, if you can mention the exact location, so I could explain further. What is
warehouse,
the exact location?
The exact location is Beirut Seaport, Warehouse 12, which is close to the silo where tons of corns and wheats are stocked. And I think the silo played a great role in shielding the right blast. You know, we have the right blast. The silo absorbed a big amount of the shock wave of the detonation. Yeah, it's inside the Beirut harbor, planton number 13, I think. Planton number 13. Panton, pardon.
Okay, number 13.
Number 13, right. Warehouse number 12.
Warehouse number 12. All right. Now let me just jump into this one. I think the most important statement Adolph made is, which in comparison to, as we do in CBRNE, we both are, also CBRNE advanced master levels, advanced level 2 course mates in University of Rome Tor Vergata. So we actually basically look from a different angle. Our first angle is from the security point of view, that how this ammonium nitrate and other material was placed in one place, because that is basically a bad choice to have those things there if we accept the official version. That's why it raises more questions than answers. That it's very clear when you have ammonium nitrate or any kind of this fertilizers, you cannot have basically explosive fuel or anything which can lighten up other, or maybe help in detonating it. So that is why it is a serious question that why these things, if there were, even this official version has a bigger suspicion. So this is number one point. Number 2 point is, is there a chance of a sabotage? What has happened? Because the scenario, official scenario, is even not rightly articulated, despite that if we agree with them or the government officials, I think it's still very problematic. And this we need to investigate it. And that investigation, as my colleague said, has to come from OPCW or other authorities which are dealing with that kind of blast. Because this is a part of the mandate, in my view. I don't know if we can just discuss in OPCW, under convention of OPCW, Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, because this appears to me that this combination either was placed before or was, somehow, I would say, to breach the security and created that timing, because it has to be with the timing. It's not possible unless you have something to detonate to. And of course, my colleague has also the military background, so he would definitely explain to you if you ask him.
Mr. Adolph, would you like to add something?
Yeah, sure. Some people are talking about negligence, others talking about corruption. Since the ammonium nitrate has been stocked for 6 years inside this warehouse, who's in charge of this whole stock? Why this did happen? Some people say that it was ignited by a maintenance team who was called to the scene in order to do some welding job for the main gate of the warehouse, and suddenly, a spark from the welding ignited the fuel or the solvents, which led to several detonations. However, I have just heard another investigator saying that this team left hours before the fire took place in the warehouse. So sabotage is also into consideration, because we have several question marks. Who's in charge? Did the government is in charge, or other people who stay behind the government? This government is a puppet. It's a puppet in the hands of Hezbollah. So if Hezbollah knows about this amount of fertilizers, and a sabotage by, I don't know, Israel maybe, how it was performed or conducted, we don't know yet. So many speculations. Some eyewitnesses say that they heard military jets overflying Beirut minutes before the detonation. Others showed some videos on social media showing flying objects, small flying objects near the incident area. However, speculations are open. We do not have a final conclusion yet. Even I have been in contact with several EODs, or explosive experts, since the detonation took place, and they have also question marks about the color that appeared after the detonation, the red color. Or they told me that sodium components do not give such a color. It gives a yellowish one instead of red one. So many scenarios, so many question marks. We don't know the final version. The population is asking for an international neutral investigation team.
Mr. Adolph, could you please tell us, where were you when the blast took place, and what really happened on ground?
Actually, yes, I was a couple of kilometers away from the detonation, three kilometers. Believe me, I can't tell you what I felt or what I heard. Although I'm a military guy, I have lived all my life in Beirut. You know what I mean? We are used to detonations. So detonation is something easy and similar to Beiruti. But this detonation, actually, I found myself in few seconds crawling on the floor. I don't know how. The earth trembled. All the glass collapsed on us. 4 or 6 minutes of earth trembling, earth shaking. I thought, okay, it's the end. I think it's hell. And then, fortunately, people who were with me, they imitated me. They saw me. They know I'm a military guy. I started crawling and looking for a shelter for my head. So there were benches, and everyone crawled under the benches, although some of the benches flew all around. So few seconds after the detonation, we looked at each other. Oh my God, what happened? We've never heard something like that in Beirut. Actually, the radius of mass destruction is 500 to 600 meters of radius around the ground zero. So there is no more Beirut seaport. However, from 700 to 4 kilometers, buildings are damaged, medium to severe damage. Houses and buildings collapsed on the head of their inhabitants. We still have so many missing people. We have so far 137 deaths, 5,000 injured, and hundreds of missing people.
Mr. Adolph, just by the sounds of it, it sounds horrific and devastating. How really bad is it for the Lebanese economy?
Yeah, as we all know, the Lebanese economy has been passing through a very, very bad situation since the beginning of 2020. The currency lost its value. We don't have dollars or euros in the markets. The banks have frozen our savings. We cannot withdraw cash money. Even if we have children or brothers studying in Europe, we cannot transfer for them euros or dollars. Our currency lost its values. There is no economy in Lebanon. The economy collapsed, and this detonation came to give the final word for the economy, because Beirut seaport was a vital area. It is the main harbor in Lebanon, although we have other harbors in Tripoli and Saida, but the Beirut seaport is the main one. It's a vital area, and now we don't have any vital area to import and export. However, I've been watching TV a few minutes ago. The French president has just arrived to Beirut for support, for economical support. And if you can see, Beirut airport is extremely busy right now. Logistics from all over the world are landing in Beirut. Medical staff, firefighters from Italy, from Greece, from Emirates, from Qatar, from all over the world are heading to Beirut. I think those brothers, those allies will not let Beirut down, will not let us down, hopefully, but I'm sure they won't let us down.
Mr. Athar Javed, as we're witnessing the aftermath of the blast, how bad is it for the environment and also the infrastructure of Lebanon?
Yeah, I would say, as I said before, that if it's mixed with the radiation and all that effects, I think it will be a long-term effects for the environment, because it will stay in the air, and it must have definitely damaged the building, the material. The material, unless you remove it, would definitely provide that kind of, the toxic emissions, and also from the air and from the ground, from the earth, actually, the surface. And there is another important element which I think we should raise here. that is regarding what kind of support system is coming. If it's coming the CBRNE units to help, that means it involves WMD, because definitely the primary assessment or the incident command center of the Army or Air Force must have indicated if they have this incident command center, because in most of the countries, incident command centers basically dealing with the CBRNE would definitely activate. So from there, you would obviously evaluate that if the CBRNE units are coming, if the equipment is coming to check the the air samples and all that, then I would say the environmental is severely damaged. And look what will happen to actually the sea life. As we all know that it was right at the seaport. Definitely, the material, the gases, all that still emitting from it could have definitely have affected the sea life as well. And the environment, as I said, it will, since the series of explosions was humongous, huge. So as he was saying, 3 to 4 kilometers away from that, and he just looked like a kind of earthquake or hell, as we say, because we have this imagination of hell, fire, explosions, and all that, and the devastation. So in my view, there will be a serious, sustainable, long-term effect on environment because of those gases and explosions. But then we still are in the process, as I mentioned earlier, to assess whether WMD or the tactical chem or nuke weapons were used to combine that or ignite this explosion. This remains to be seen. So I think in coming weeks and months, it will be a very, very difficult situation for Lebanon, and especially the people from Beirut, because the economic crisis is at the top. You lost your seaport completely, and then it is still, a crime scene, so to speak, in terms of it's still a scene of an accident. That's why it demands the most important organization like OPCW and those dealing with this kind of WMD and terrorism from NATO, maybe they would like to maybe look into it. It would be an important initiative on the part of the United States, despite COVID-19 and all that. I think if they step in, they have this equipment and expertise in the area, they may help Lebanon to recover from this and find the solution.
Mr. Adolph, what is the role of regional actors in regards to the Beirut blast?
Yeah, actually, according to strategic experts in Lebanon and in the region, some are pointing the finger to Iran, because what has been happening in Iran recently, as we can see, several explosions in different chemical and nuclear facilities. And since the Hezbollah in Lebanon is connected ideologically to Iran, and some people say that warehouse number 12 is a ammunition or even a construction site for missiles, Iranian missiles in Lebanon through Hezbollah, I think observers think that it was sabotaged or attacked by Israeli forces to continue the series of explosions from Iran to Beirut to Baghdad.
Mr. Athar Javed, would you like to add something on this?
I think if I'm hearing correctly, it's a plausible hypothesis, because Israel doesn't want Iran to become a nuclear power. Israel doesn't want Iran to acquire, strengthen its military, capabilities due to series of conflicts in the region, in which Iran has been a player, like other players, international players, US, Russia, all those other countries, in Syria, for example, in Iraq, and now in Libya. So I think it is a very plausible argument or observation by strategic analysts And I cannot really subscribe to it because of lack of evidence. What I know or Mr. Adolph knows, but we both know as the CBRNE experts that there is a possibility. The scenario appears like this, that they want to continue what they have started in Iran or in Baghdad or in Syria against Hezbollah. So this can be a possible assessment, because we all know we have to present a view in the backdrop of what has happened on the ground or what's going on in the ground, especially in confrontation with conventional and non-conventional wars, asymmetric warfare. In asymmetric warfare, as we all know, the sabotage, arson, destruction of bombing on the construction side, destroying the missile batteries, mobile missile batteries in different parts have happened before. So I have to subscribe what Adolf has observed through the analysis of different strategic experts.
And I would like to add something about the timing. The timing is suspicious, as the international verdict regarding the assassination of Prime Minister Rafiq Hariri should have been announced tomorrow. However, the verdict has been postponed till the 18th of August. So the timing is also suspicious. Maybe someone is trying to intimidate Hezbollah more and more and more.
Mr. Adolph, where are things heading? How is the Lebanese economy planning on recovering from the sad incident?
Actually, we are heading to a fall if we do not change our corrupted politicians who have been ruling Lebanon for decades. They are corrupted. They are extremely corrupted. So we have to change this stuff before the international community starts providing us with aids, with humanitarian aids, with finance, with everything. And I think it is a main condition. This is the main condition of the international community. If you do not change these corrupted politicians, there is no support, no financial aids, because they are going to loot, to take all the money and put them in their accounts in Switzerland. So now we have to cooperate as population with the international community in order to get rid of this these corrupted politicians before having any financial aid. However, I noticed that the French president today, once he arrived to Beirut, he has been addressing the speech to the Lebanese population. This is very important. He didn't address the speech to the politicians. He used to say la population libanaise, the Lebanese population. So these logistics are provided to us. However, financial aids will never see them if we do not get rid of this rotten politicians.
Mr.
Athar Javed, any last words before we wrap up the show?
I think it is a very dangerous development, and the biggest tragic event in the history of Lebanon. After the civil war, they faced loss of thousands of people and lives and economy. We know that Beirut has been the city of light and one of the most beautiful cities in the world. It now lies in tatters and ruins because of the civil war, the corruption, as Adolph pointed out, the corruption, the negligence, the political wrangling, the political infighting. And of course, the people of Lebanon have been very resilient. And the best of people of Lebanon have been always exemplified as one unit. They there are multi ethnicity and multicultural, multi-religious people live there, and they have been living forever in great peace and harmony. But the civil war and all those developments and presence of non-state actors and presence of those who can just harm the peace in the region and domestically, they have created issues for the population. The youth is absolutely not willing to accept the current setup, and they want it to change for better. So my concerns are that there may be more serious events in terms of limited war between entities, including Hezbollah and others with Israel, or maybe a diversion from the main issue, because there is a serious issue of economy, there is a serious issue of law and order, and as we heard from the banking sector, you cannot withdraw your money. So they're going to be, in my personal view, the coming years and the months and the weeks would be very difficult for people of Lebanon, especially Beirut, and we should pray for them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Athar Javed, for being on Security Watch. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much, Zain.
Thank you so much, Captain Adolph Eid. It was a pleasure having you on Security Watch.
My pleasure as well. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you.
This was Captain Adolph Eid, former chief of the Radiation Detection Unit in the Lebanese Customs and also a CBRNE expert. We were discussing on the sad incidents that took place a few days back, the Beirut blast. Our second guest, as always, is Mr. Athar Javed, a senior geopolitical analyst and also DG Pakistan House, an Islamabad-based think tank. Until the next episode of Security Watch, keep on watching Security Watch. This is Zain Khan. Take care. Goodbye.